Welcome to the What's Next podcast. On today's episode, Mike and I sit down and recap our first 7 guests and touch on their stories and our takeaways. So if you're ready, buckle up and let's go.
Welcome to the What's Next podcast. My name is Mike Hectus and I'm here with my good friend,
the Bryan Stevens.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
You've already stepped it up a notch.
Well,
welcome, buddy. Good to see you again. Good to sit down.
Yes,
and
thank you.
We're actually, tonight we thought the two of us get back and kind of do a recap. Ooh. We've, I don't even know how many shows we've had now. It's, I don't know. I'm not even going to count because every time I count, I forget. We're wrong.
Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, let's.
You think that's an age thing?
Well, I don't know. You're a little older than me. Should I expect that?
Yes. My wife tells me that all the time.
There you go.
I told you to. I go, yes, but.
Yes, but. Because you weren't listening again.
Right. Yeah, we just talked about that. How I seemed to have a listening problem.
Yeah, selective listening, they tell us.
That's it.
I can't. This, here thought we'd try to do a recap, and we're just going to roll.
We're just going to screw this up anyway.
Exactly. So. Thank God Steven's in the background going, holy crap, I don't know why I do this.
Yes, and we are back at Stephen Ryan's studio. Have we got a name for this yet, Stephen, for this place? Or Porch Light.
Porch Light. Nice.
There we go. Porch Light.
Yeah, so at the Porch Light Studio.
Studio.
Down here in beautiful Bryan Road. I don't think we can give the address out because people start to stalk.
Yeah,
stalk you. So.
All the people that are following us.
Oh yeah, my family, your family. Yeah. Anyway, so listen. Hey, great to hang out with you again, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's just take a look back at who we've had on the show, some of the stories that we've shared, and like I said. We came together for this podcast to share stories, to connect stories between us and those listeners out there. When you start telling your story, as we've always said, you tell the story and you start the healing. Mm-hmm. And hopefully somebody out there that's listening is going to say, you know what, that's me. I'm not alone. So as your story was from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, we come up with the concept, the name What's Next, just simply because that's life right there. It's always what's next. What's around the corner, what's next for you in life. And I think we've done a pretty good job with the 11, 12, 13 guests that we've had, including ourselves, that we're just telling those stories that hopefully are going to connect with somebody, for somebody to go, that's me, or that's a little bit of me, or I'm heading that way.
Yeah.
And, you and I got together, and we've had just such an impressive group of people through so far.
Absolutely.
Some pretty touching stories, and we've got an impressive list.
Yeah, great lineup to go with
it
too. Yeah, looking forward to it. But you mentioned it exactly that, and it was it's funny when you have your own. My own daughter reached out that she was listening to the first 3 podcasts earlier. Now she's following regularly, and she had said, wow, she said, even listening to my story, she said, didn't realize some of the struggles I went through during COVID. Mm-hmm. And that's some of the things, because we try to keep everything so close to our chest, right? We, especially men. Mm-hmm. We had Gord Melville on not too long ago, and he talked about, that exact thing where men don't want to show signs of weakness, so they hold everything in even tighter. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things, that, and then when she heard your story as well. So it's kind of neat that we're starting to open up and feel comfortable telling our stories. And I think it's allowing other people, those that have come on the show, to say, you know what, I feel comfortable and I feel safe with you guys, where I can tell my story. And it's funny how whenever we're done, they get off the show and they're going, thanks. I mean, that helped.
Well, and we've said this to Stephen, like we need to start, just leave the camera rolling.
Yeah.
Stop the show like we do, but just let the camera roll. Like we got a big production going on here, but
camera 3,
just let the iPhone keep going. And because some of the conversations we have afterwards are they're incredible.
Absolutely. We've said that several times. I mean, when we sit down to have coffee somewhere, we should be taping all that stuff because they are the best conversations. We always say, we got to make sure we talk about that, because there's so much that when we sit down in a relaxed atmosphere, and it's crazy how you just open up and tell what's on your heart and soul. And that's the biggest thing. What's on our heart and soul is the truth that comes out of our mouth. It's when, everything around us starts to babble. It's not coming truthfully from your heart and soul.
And you like to do that a lot.
Speak from my heart and soul.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's why we call you Babel.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Behind your back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. This is non-judgmental. I didn't mean to judge.
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. But no, you know what? I really do. I think that we've done a good job so far in just staying true to what this show's all about and just asking, how'd you get from start to where you are today and what's next for you? Good and bad along the way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And hopefully we're just doing exactly that. Where we're hoping this crazy idea of ours goes is that, we get enough listeners, people will start chiming in and reaching out to us and saying, hey, if I went through, like you and I were just talking about the other day, it'd be nice to get somebody on here that's gone through a postpartum depression.
Right. Yeah.
We're just trying to reach out to absolutely everybody and just get some little snippets here and there.
And I think that's one of the topics in particular that we talk about that people sit so quietly about and don't bring it up because all of a sudden they feel like there's something wrong with them. They don't want people to see that. Yeah. So they hold it in. So we'd love to be able to help somebody, or if somebody can tell us or come onto the show and help us help somebody that's going through that, or that they've worked with people that have gone through that. That would be great. And I think too, like you mentioned, I don't know how many followers we've got at this point, but for you and I, it was never about followers.
No.
It was for you and I was to get out there and hopefully we touch one or two people each show that say, it helped. I mean, it's not like we're doing this thing to make a career, because I don't think anybody's going to pick us up. But anyway, we did that because of
Stephen just left.
Turn the lights off and lock up. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But that was the purpose. I mean, it wasn't about, how many followers can we get? This was never anything about how many followers. No. This is a matter of just reaching out and hoping we can touch somebody each show that says, thank you, that was me.
Well, and it's, like I talked to a lot of the young paramedics around our place and the police officers around Frontline, our nursing staff, our firefighters are there, and we've lost as a people, as a society, I think we've lost the art of conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where it lies, right there, because in conversation, you can always pick up little things in conversation to what people say, and it's okay to disagree. 100% it's okay, because maybe you don't understand, and then you have that conversation, go, well, you know what, I really don't agree with that. That's okay.
But I don't understand it.
But once you understand it, and one of our guests, and we're going to go down the list here, but as I told you, one of the statements out of the podcast here, it's going to stick with me forever, and that was from Cavell Johnson.
Oh yeah.
When Cavell said, understanding energy. You got to understand the energy of the person around you, and it's going to stick with me now forever, because maybe I don't understand. Help me to understand you, your issue, where you're going with things, and then make a more educated, more formulated opinion to whatever. And if you still agree, well then shit, you disagree to disagree.
No, exactly. We always talk about when you go into a room, it's the energy in the room, but what he said, it's the energy of that other person.
Yes.
And
understand their energy.
Wow. Yeah, because that's huge. I mean, we talk about it so often. People will walk into a room and the first thing they do is they look around and they feel like, who's looking at me? And it's not it's not who's looking at me. It's that person in the other room's going, I wonder if they notice me. And it's the same thing. You got to read, when you're chatting with someone, we've got great energy when we get together. I think anyway. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but sorry, I want to see what Stephen was doing. But we do. I mean, I think the two of us, because we're on the same path for this whole purpose, and and it's like I said, it's reaching out and touching that person and them saying, yeah, that's me. And again, it's like I said, we've opened up and you've told your stories and again, we talk about your first responders, and it's just a matter of time. I mean, we've got a few of them lined up to come up to the next few shows.
We do.
But again, it's one of those where they're saying, are you really ready to hear the stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready. Are you sure? You're sure you really want to hear the stories that I've lived through and the shit that I've seen and the crap that I've gone through and what some of these people are living like?
Well, we're at Frontline, I get this incredible opportunity literally every day to have conversations like this. We've got new people, touch wood, every day that are coming into our place and joining our incredible group of people there. But over the last 2 weeks, and especially today, was a conversation that I had with a gentleman that's going to come on the podcast. He's got a story just as big as the rest of them, and he's willing to share. And he's one of our military vets that were over there, and the stories that he has, and he said exactly that. Instead of just watching the TV show, let's hear it. And he goes, if you want to hear it, like we always say, buckle up, because he said, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and that's exactly as I said to you, because I said that's, it is what it is. I mean, we need to hear those stories. I mean, not just brush it over. No, I mean, we see what's on the news, but we don't know what's actually happening. Mm-hmm. And as you'd mentioned too, to go back, because you had mentioned that we've kind of lost that capability of communicating and stuff like that. And I think COVID had a big effect on that, because we were locked down, right? We were, everybody. I mentioned my story earlier. I mean, for 2 years, I couldn't go see people, which, being an extrovert, I always wanted to hang around with people, chat to people. Now I got to do it through a screen. Well, I'm sick and tired of Zoom calls. You know what? Stop. Mm-hmm. Unless Zoom's going to sponsor us, then, Zoom calls are great.
Love Zoom.
Love Zoom. Yeah. Microsoft. Okay. Anyway, I don't know if we're going to get in trouble for all this shit we keep throwing up. That's okay.
Stephen left again.
Yeah. Excuse me. But my point being is that people have lost that. And we talked about that earlier too in one of the first podcasts, is that we thought through COVID families would get closer together, get tighter together, because they were in lockdown. They learn how to get through some of those difficult times, and they're always home. Couldn't, quick jump in the car and head off somewhere. But it is crazy how I think more and more people are holding more and more close to their chest and not talking.
Yeah. I think it's then, as you just said, it's then just the opposite.
Yeah.
People seem to be angrier. They seem to be less attentive. Mm-hmm. And I think we've truly lost that art of conversation, because they can sit there and watch Netflix for, not just Netflix, but or watch a movie for an extended period of time and not have to have any conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me. But I think I think COVID has really kicked us in the ass, the whole society as a whole. And
absolutely. And we were all hoping to come out of it. Like you said, I want to go back to normal. Well, I didn't want to go back to normal again. I wanted to go back to new. And I really truly believe that we're still struggling to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our first guest that we had on was Stephen Ryan. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
that guy back there in the back producing. And we talked about the music industry. You and I have always talked about the brilliant lyrics that he writes, and the music that he creates is just freaking amazing. I mean, that we love that. And but it was the whole, he can continue to write songs and continue to do that things, but it was, how do you get it out there? And we talked about that and how that changed totally. Mm-hmm. The whole industry by going online. And but again, more and more, which it taught Stephen, well, he taught us really more about social media and technology than
no, he taught us everything.
Yeah, exactly. Showed us how to turn on the iPad. It was cool. No, but it was one of those things where he taught us how he was using different outlets and distribution things online to be able to get his music out there and finding more followers. And the neat thing about it is he was getting more followers, globally than just doing the scenes in the pub and stuff like that. And but now things are open again, and looking forward to seeing him more and more out there in the public's eyes. So they actually get to see him live, because he is absolutely brilliant. But and we're not saying that because he's in the back, but truly, I mean, if you haven't checked him out yet on any of the your music links, check it out. But it's it's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
For sure.
No, it's absolutely our privilege, our honor to be bringing the show from Stephen's Place, from Porch Light Studios here. And it's really nice that we have somebody who knows what they're doing with social media.
But again, like I said, that was the cool thing about our first guest. He came in and how COVID had stuck. We talked about how COVID was the one that kind of stunted us from being able to chat. And again, we talked about in the first couple of podcasts how music is one of the things I leaned on to and I reached out to. And like I said, I so connect with a lot of the songs that Stephen writes, and so many other artists too that I connect with so closely. But Stephen's was one of those things that I could turn to And it was great music. So, Steven's podcast, like I said, was the first guest that we had on, and it was absolutely awesome. And we definitely going to have him back on again. I think we're going to we talked about doing one just, a couple of them just based on music, period.
Yeah, well, exactly. We talked about that. We'd like to do just a show dedicated to music.
Yeah.
And, obviously have Stephen perform a couple of them, and whoever else we can convince to come along with us, because music touches everybody in a different way.
Yeah,
absolutely. Means something different.
And every
to
genre, which there's another thing we learned through this whole thing is you learned what pop music is.
I did.
Anyway, excuse me. So Stephen being our first one, and it was great. I mean, it was great to have him here. It helped us relax as well, because he's in the background doing everything else, making this thing work, and teaching us how he's doing the editing and everything else, which is really cool. So it was a very comfortable podcast to do. And then we brought on my good friend, Julia Shelley.
Wow.
Julia now, has resigned, handed her resignation from the UN. She was working with the United Nations as a flight attendant, traveling all over the world. And some of her stories were just, she's in the middle of Afghanistan. She's right in the war zones, man. And still being the fit athlete, the WBFF, I think that's what it was. Yeah, there's so many different sanctions, but the WBFF title holder, title holder. Let's do that anyway. Yeah, sure. But she spent the whole time while she was over there finding ways to train and continue to train so that she'd stay in shape and continue to help her clients online and stuff like that. But what she saw over there, I mean, that's one of the reasons why she resigned. It was playing a big part on her mental health. Well,
and it was really interesting with Julia, such a pretty young lady, that at a distance, or you're just meeting her for the first time, or you just pass by, you just go, okay, like she's got it all. She's got the look. She's got she's the fitness title. Yeah. She's doing all that. And then we started breaking that down, and then she started telling us the stories about how things were just falling apart for her.
And that's it, exactly. Like, I mean, I met her when her very first competition, which I can't remember what year that was. I couldn't tell you. But it was an Oktoberfest competition in Kitchener. And I saw her at her very first one. She won that competition. But so we stayed closely connected, even though she was traveling all over. But it was due to social media that we got a chance to actually stay connected.
Right.
So I'm seeing all these pictures thinking, wow, look at how she's training here. She's doing that. But again, she's only posting the pictures that are positive,
right,
and that look great. And then when she get on with us, talked about, it's not all roses, baby.
No, and she was, it was awesome for her to share, and we're definitely going to have Julia back on to hopefully we can even share some more of those stories, because it's those stories we learn by our mistakes, right?
Right, absolutely.
As a people. And Julia wants to make sure that she has that opportunity again. She's mentioned to us that she'd love to come back on, have her come back on, share some of those stories, and share how she got from there to where she is now.
To where she is now. So.
Yeah.
So like I say, it's great to have her back in Canada again, and working at her in her business in the fitness world. So, and it's awesome. And then we had actually one of Steven's buddies, Logan, came in to see us. Logan Barrett.
Now, what was interesting with Logan, big story.
Oh,
big story. Awesome guy. He was showing us a bunch of footage from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Before we went live, and it triggered me.
We're
in here. There was Steven, and there was you and myself, and he was showing it like, I'd like to show this and show that, and it instantly took me back to a time and place, and I just broke down. So I had to jump out the door, because it triggered me big. And Logan is a pretty special guy.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I say, it was one of those short notices. We had a cancellation, and Steven called him up, and he was here in a heartbeat. And he came in, just like I said, what he's gone through and what he saw, and his passion for going out and doing what he does.
The humanitarian missions that he does.
Man, it's incredible. And he's just like one of the guys. But I wanted to bring that up, because that's one of the things that we always look at is those triggers and stuff, and how do we deal with those triggers? Because when he did put that video up, and it was powerful, man. It was unbelievable. And I think he said at some time they are going to post it
Yes.
They were still doing some editing on it, but I saw you walk out in the middle and I went, oh shit, that kind of hit my buddy hard.
Yeah, it did. It just instantly, and it's incredible the journey that I've been on, where I was, where I am today, and I'm 100% better and get 100% better from here.
Yeah.
But it really knocked me on my ass that just in 1 second, it still go back. So it goes to prove that you can never unsee, unhear, unfeel, unsmell, untouch the things that you've done.
Yeah.
You can manage them.
Yeah.
But they're always there. They're part of you for life. I've got some incredible support in the therapy sessions that I've had and the tools that I put in place to, put myself in check all the time. But even with all those tools, it was just that 1 second thing.
And it's like everything else we talk about. It's you either respond or you react. It's like everything else in our life. I mean, you're driving down the 401, somebody cuts you off. Are you going to respond or are you going to react? You're going to react and chase them, and there's two of you being idiots on the highway together, or are you going to respond and say, you know what? I hope he gets where he's going safe and I hope he doesn't kill anybody on the way.
Right.
I'm just going to stay back. You know what? He cut me off, but and the same thing. You got to find that what triggers you to find whatever it is you stepped out right away, took a bit of a walk.
Yeah. And, Logan was, he was awesome on the show. He, again, only touched briefly on everything he's done and has reached out to you and I a couple times.
Yeah. Looking forward to get him back on, too.
That wants to come back on and tell some more of his story and how he's doing. And, I mean, the world is still falling apart over there with Russia and the Ukraine, and that's probably going to go on for a while. And, Logan is just one of those guys. And he really, and I see this in a lot of first responders, that incredibly humble people.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, it was when he came in here, I thought, when we were done talking about that, I can't believe this is the guy that went through everything he went through. It was incredible.
Just totally humble. No, I haven't really done much. I just did this and I just did that.
I got a call. We're going to Ukraine. And I'm thinking, you're going to what? Ukraine? Are you crazy?
Yeah. And works a full-time job and is a volunteer firefighter. We didn't even touch. You can do lots of that. And the calls that he responds to as a first responder. So, Logan, most certainly we're going to have him back on.
Yeah. And it was brilliant. I think, and, Stephen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's going to be on the 6th podcast, I believe it is. So, go back and check that one out and listen to Logan's story. Yeah. And again, these are some of the people like Julia, like Logan, that people are saying, you know what, that's the field I want to get into, the mission work or the UN work or something. Here's some people you can reach out to and say, okay, I'd love to chat to you, find out how I can connect and help as well. So, these guests that we have on here, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll connect you with these people.
And on that note, see, I cut you off again. See, it just seems to continue here all the time. But I get a thought in my head if I don't get it out right away, and
do you want to go to the bathroom?
It goes somewhere. I don't know where it goes, but
it goes up again.
No, and speaking about Logan with his humanitarian work, it's something that. I'd love to have somebody here on the show that's done humanitarian work, like at some of the medical clinics, because Ange and I have always talked about we'd love to do this.
Yeah.
For me to be able to go and work at the clinic for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Angie loves gardening. She loves all that. So she goes, I could help out that way and just be part of that. So if there's anybody out there that knows about that or would like to be on the show, we'd love to.
That's something too. Like you said, Vicky loves to be in the garden too all the time, cooking and stuff like that. She loves being in the kitchen. I would love to be part of building a school somewhere, helping them build a school in some other part of the world. And that's absolutely love to have some people on here that can help us with that too. So, but then we had Brittany Christantos on.
Whoa,
young lady, young lady. And I don't want to tell her a story because I want to go back and listen to the podcast. But a #1 best-selling author on books on teen mental health and the struggles she went through. She actually printed her diary as the struggles that she went through. Yeah. So it's really cool. So there's another one you definitely want to check her out. She's got a great social media following, and she's doing some wonderful things on Instagram, and she's doing Zoom calls on a regular week with some really incredible people. It was pretty cool.
And again, she has a big story.
Yeah.
She has a big story, and maybe there's just one part of that story rather than the whole story. Maybe there's just that one thing that she said, that she's part of it, that people can go, I'd like to hear more.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, that's me.
And that this whole story started when she was a teen, for crying out loud. So we'd love to have
Yeah.
teens out there. If there's any teens out there that want to get on and talk about what you're going through right now, maybe you haven't found, the light yet. Maybe you're still in this dark place, but let's get on here and chat with us. Maybe there's somebody that can reach out and kind of help guide us, guide you or whatever else. I mean, like I say, it all starts with telling the story and opening up and saying, here's what I'm going through right now. So,
And then we jump from there.
yeah.
Literally, see how he let in on that jump?
That was good.
That's pretty good.
Basketball, Cavell.
Pretty good. Pretty sharp over here. Cavell Johnson.
Yes.
Larger than life.
He is. He
Yeah.
is.
Literally.
And now the guy's
Literally.
got a beard bigger than my head. Holy crap.
Cavell, former
Yes.
NCAA ball player,
Yep.
former coach of the KW Titans, our pro basketball team.
Traveled all over Europe and China playing basketball as well,
Yeah.
and came up from down south in the U.S. and now kind of making Canada his home, which is absolutely awesome. We
Welcome.
love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Glad to have him here. But another great story. I mean, he went all the traveling that he did, taken away at such a young age, like 15. He was taken out of the house because he was a great basketball player. And I think it was Texas. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and listen again, but take a look at it, listen to his podcast because it's a great story. Left home at such a young age because he had such a talent to put him into a school that was focused on basketball and education, and then took it from there, and then really has not been back since, basically.
No.
And then he goes through the story of the tragedy with his brother. So
Right.
and you can go back and listen. Please do.
And that's powerful. Again, larger than life personality, physical stature, the whole bit. You just think that he's just got the world by the ass,
Yeah.
and the first time that I sat and heard his story, it just broke my heart. But at the same time, it's incredible to hear. About his, and we want people to listen to the show, but his brother taking his life, and incredible. And he's very open about it and willing to share. So I think it's important for people to listen to that one.
Yeah, absolutely, because he really shared a lot as to how he's dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, still to this point. I mean, here he was married, a couple of kids, and Cavell very close to his sister-in-law and the kids as well, and nieces and nephews there. But it's really, I loved hearing how he deals with it on a day-to-day, because it's always going to be there, and how we even raised a glass after we sat down and he toasted his brother.
Absolutely.
And it was cool. It
Yeah.
was so cool. It was a great conversation. So yeah, Cavell, and then we jumped into your sister for a two-parter, Allison Keenapple.
Yeah, that was a kicker. I purposely did it the way that I did it, just to see the response. And how can it not touch you, touch your heart? My sister, she was on. We were doing it virtual, and she said she was having a hard time because she's watching us, and she goes, I'm looking over at Mike, and Mike's breaking down, and I'm sitting over here, and you can't see Steven, and I'm looking at Steven, and Steven's breaking down over there, and I'm like, holy shit, keep it together over here. And I'm trying to get through it. But I was very proud of her to come in and talk about the PSW world.
Yeah, because the
Tough job.
PSW, like I said, I even talked to my daughter about that. I said, make sure you connect with that one, which she did get a chance to listen, because she's from that same world.
Exactly.
And we don't realize, we're thinking they're doing great things. They're going in, they're helping seniors in their homes, and they're helping people that need assistance and that. But they're walking into a freaking jungle half the time, or they're walking into just a shithole.
Yeah.
Because these people have nobody to help them.
Right.
They got no family or anything else. It was a powerful story.
And we're going to expand from there. We've got some other people from the PSW world that have now reached out to us that want to come on and talk about us. So we're very appreciative of the fact of Allison coming on and sharing that part of her personal and professional life. And then she came back for show number 2.
Yeah.
And that's when she punched us all in the throat.
Yeah, and I think that was the one where we looked at, where Stephen did the same thing. He said, you guys got to prepare me before these shows.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? He says, I was not ready for that.
No.
And we didn't even really go into too much depth, but it was enough that you knew the struggle she had gone through.
Yeah, there's a lot more to that. And again, keeping the camera rolling.
Yeah.
If we talked afterwards, I shared more
Yeah.
of that story, and there's even bigger pieces of that story than what we shared live to everybody here. But yeah, it was huge to lose a child.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old they are.
Yeah, you never want to bury your child.
Right. And yeah, we just it was incredible that she was brave enough and large enough to share that with us, and we hope that people are going to reach out to us that maybe are going through the same struggle.
And we talk about each show has got something, like you talked about with Cavell and what his message was for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the message with her that really hit me is, like she said, she was not going for therapy herself.
Right.
And we're thinking, oh man, what would I would do? I'm not going to judge her at all. I mean, I don't know what I would do either in that situation. But when she said that she's starting to forgive, and she's starting to forgive a lot. And then when I asked if she's forgave herself yet,
She said no.
She said no.
She's gotten back to me about that, and she goes, "That son of a." She goes,
because that's where you got to be able to forgive yourself.
and that's what And she took a lot away from me. She
Yeah.
goes, "Yeah, Mike hit me back with that one." So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and again, those stories touched me. As soon as her story, I thought, you know what, I got to look in the mirror too every once in a while and say, Mike, it's okay. You're gonna mess up.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna mess up big times.
yeah.
But the whole thing is, asking forgiveness and going from there. So, and
Yeah.
then we followed up after Allison. So we had Gordon D. Melville, the big bearded guy.
Oh boy, he's something else.
And he warned me before he got on. He says, make sure you cut me off if you have to, because he will go on and on and on. But like I said, his story again from where he started, very successful, and then going like 900 miles an hour with his hair on fire.
Yeah.
In traveling all over the world with Grant Cardone and that whole lifestyle, like the Tony Robbins lifestyle, and that's what he was doing, and very successful. And then, as he calls God Papa. Papa grabbed him and threw him down and said, "Slow down, or you're gonna die."
Yeah.
And it was 2 years before he pulled himself out of a dark bedroom, suicidal thoughts, everything else, and got his act together again. And now he's having an impact on thousands of men. And his goal is 10 million men in a year or something?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I love these big astronomical goals. If you're going to set a goal,
Go big.
go big. 10 million guys. So
Yes.
it was pretty cool too. He's just such an incredible guy.
And again, we said it right from the very start that our show's not about standing behind any religious, political.
No, absolutely.
We're just getting the word out.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%.
Whether you attach to it, whether you agree or disagree, that's up to you.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And
And I
that's
guess-
why I was appreciative of Gord sharing what his beliefs are.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's cool.
Well, we've had the conversation, Gordon and I, in coffee shops many times. Like I'm what I call a spiritual person. I have a heart filled with the love of God and everything else, and I'll tell you that. But if you're going to say, oh, you're a religious guy, no, I'm not a religious guy. I think religion's a problem, and it's our podcast. I can say my thoughts and whatever else. We've always said that. We're open to discuss my podcast. That's what I'm going to say. But I just truly believe that you have to have something, to reach out to and truly believe it. And we have some great heart-to-heart chats. It's crazy.
Yes.
And, we've been in a lot of those situations and those conversations too. But, whether it's, whatever, you got to have something that you can sit down and have a conversation with by yourself. And
So we put all that together.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's next?
What's next? Well, we want to thank you. Stevens shut the lights off. Porch light is now a dark light. No. What's next? Like I said, we've got a lot coming up.
We got an impressive list of people, and it seems to be growing all the time. And we want to thank everybody that's reached out to us and said, "Hey, it's crap," or "I like it," and We haven't had. Have we had any of that yet?
Well, they haven't reached out. They might be saying
true.
it.
They might be saying it, but
Only the 2 positive comments so far,
Yeah.
but that's from 4 followers. That's good. Batting 500.
no. So it's we're having a hell of a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
great to get together with Stephen as always, and we really appreciate it. And we're just looking to take this thing wherever it's going to take us. It's gonna. We're not even steering the boat.
No.
No.
You know what I love, before we close out, with one of the things that Steven said to us earlier. He says, I numbered the first one 001. So he said, so we've got to do at least 100 because I started 001. I thought, awesome. Well, I know, like I say, we've already done, I think, 13 or whatever it is. And we've got, I think, 8 more people already lined up coming up starting next week again. So this was just kind of, let's sit back and recap and take a look where we are. But like I said, it wasn't about, how many followers are we going to get. This was about, and I think, again, it was just kind of an escape for you and I to sit in here and again, because we love Ryan so much, Stephen, and I always go the Ryan Stephen thing. Should change his name. But no, I think it's just kind of cool that again, it's, as Cavell said, it's the energy, and it's just a great energy in this room.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with me again, bud.
Thanks, man. It's all good, Stephen.
Stephen, thanks, pal.
Thank you, sir.
We'll talk soon. See you next week.
Peace out.
Peace. We're out of here.